Stop for a moment and think, have you ever felt like you're living on autopilot, working, paying bills, scrolling through social media, but with that nagging feeling that something is missing, that your real life is happening somewhere else? Most of us have felt this way, trapped in the routine and stress, as if we're trying to find our way out of an invisible labyrinth. But what if I told you that the labyrinth isn't the problem, it's an illusion, and that the way out isn't somewhere out there, but in your own perception? We've been taught that reality is something solid, objective, and that it exists independently of us. But what ancient Eastern wisdom and today's most advanced scientists are beginning to tell us is something completely different, and at the same time, startlingly familiar. Reality is a sacred illusion. It's Maya, the veil that makes us forget our true nature. In this video, we'll dive into the secret of this illusion. More than that, we'll show you how modern science is actually confirming what ancient traditions have known for millennia. Get ready, because what you're about to discover could change your worldview forever. Our conversation today starts with a central and right off the bat, somewhat counterintuitive concept, the idea of Maya. It's not an illusion in the sense of being false, like a trick you figure out at the end of a magic show. Instead, it's a sacred mechanism, a kind of veil that the single, all-pervading consciousness uses to experience itself individually. It's as if life is a game of cosmic hide-and-seek with itself, where we, the players, temporarily forget that we are the whole, creating the sensation of separation. This sacred illusion of Maya is what makes us see ourselves as separate entities. Me against the world, me and you, us and them. It's what puts us on a relentless search for something that, ironically, we already are and already possess at our core. We chase happiness, validation, and a sense of completeness out there, without realizing that the source of all these things is within, just waiting to be recognized. This is samsara, the endless cycle of seeking and suffering, a labyrinth we build ourselves, and yet we hold the key to get out. To start feeling this truth in a practical way, we can use a simple guided meditation. Sit in a quiet place, and for a few minutes, close your eyes and simply observe your breath. With each inhale, think, I am the air, and with each exhale, the air is me. This simple visualization begins to dissolve the boundary between you and the world outside. Try this for a few days and notice how your perception of being one with the universe might begin to shift. The idea that our reality is, in fact, a projection of our own consciousness is the next part of our journey. Think of your house, your body, even your memories. This text suggests that all of this is, in a way, a mental construct. We are simultaneously the dreamer who creates the dream and the observer who, for a time, forgets himself within it. We get lost in the story we're telling, but deep down, we are the storyteller. This idea might seem otherworldly, but it's an ancient concept present in many traditions. A classic analogy from Vedanta illustrates this perfectly. A person in the dark mistakes a rope for a snake. They feel fear, their heart races, and their entire reality in that moment is dominated by a snake that doesn't exist. The snake is their projection. The light that reveals the rope is the awakening, the consciousness that reveals the true nature of things. The fear and terror are real, but the object of the fear is an illusion. To start bringing this perception into your daily life, try a practice of observation. When you're feeling a strong emotion like anger or sadness, instead of identifying with it and saying, I am angry, ask yourself, who is it that is feeling this? By doing this, you start to create a space between you, the observer, and the emotion, the object of observation. It's a small step toward realizing that you are not the emotion, but rather the consciousness that perceives it. It's the beginning of the journey of waking up within your own dream. Perfect. The next step in our conversation is to build a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern science. On one side, we have millennial traditions like Vedanta, talking about a non-dual reality, and Maya, the illusion that conceals it. On the other, quantum physics, the most modern of sciences, which is starting to tell us something frighteningly similar. The idea that the act of observing collapses a superposition of possibilities into something concrete is the scientific version of what the ancients already intuited. Consciousness is the raw material of reality. When we look at the double-slit experiment, we see the observer becoming an active participant in the creation of reality. Before the measurement, the electron behaves as a wave of infinite possibilities. The moment it's observed, it chooses a path, becoming a particle. Is it crazy to think that this is Maya in action, a veil that consciousness uses to manifest itself? And going even further, the theory of the implicate order by David Bohm, a physicist who worked with Einstein, suggests that visible reality is only the tip of the iceberg, a reflection of a deeper, unmanifested order. Remember Brahman, the absolute reality from which everything emerges? That's quite a coincidence. This conversation isn't limited to physics. Neuroscience also encounters a gigantic paradox, the hard problem of consciousness. They search for consciousness in the brain, as if it were an organ or a function. But the truth is, they can't find it. We can't find consciousness in the brain because it's not in there. Just as the eye cannot see itself, the brain, which is an instrument of consciousness, cannot find it. Consciousness is the substrate, the screen on which the movie of life is projected. It's not in the movie itself. And speaking of deep connections, it's impossible not to mention our own psychic field. This is where psychology comes in hand with ancient wisdom. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, with his theory of the collective unconscious, gave us a huge clue that we're not as separate as we think. He noticed that there are universal themes, symbols and myths, the so-called archetypes that appear in the art, dreams, and stories of cultures that never had contact with one another. Jung's discovery suggests the existence of a kind of internet of the human psyche, a common psychic field that connects us at a much deeper level than our individual experience. It's as if we're all connected to the same cosmic Wi-Fi network, even if we can only access our own device. What he called the collective unconscious is a direct manifestation of the unity that, in the end, is the fundamental nature of reality behind all apparent separation. This idea that the individual self is just a drop in the ocean, but contains the entire ocean within it, is what allows us to understand that the journey to self-knowledge is, in fact, a journey to knowing the whole. To start exploring this, pay attention to your own dreams. Keep a journal and write down the symbols, figures, and emotions that appear. Over time, you might start to notice patterns, and from there, realize the ancient wisdom that already resides within you, just waiting to be recognized. It is precisely this idea of unity that leads us to our next point, the dual nature of the universe. In our daily lives, we see everything in pairs of opposites. Good and evil, light and shadow, me and the other. Maya makes us believe that separation is reality, but as we've already seen, this is the great illusion. Behind all duality, there is a fundamental unity, an invisible connection that links everything. It's the Hermetic principle of mentalism, the all is mind, stating that the entire universe is one great consciousness. This idea that separation is just a facade even gains weight in physics. Think of Einstein's theory of relativity, which showed that time and space are not absolute and separate, but a single fabric, space-time, or quantum entanglement, a phenomenon in which two particles become so interconnected that what happens to one affects the other instantly, no matter the distance. These are all scientific confirmations of something that ancient wisdom has long said: the foundation of reality is unity. To start feeling this connection for yourself, try the following. The next time you feel disconnected from someone, or even judge a person, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is this person showing me about myself? By seeing the other as a reflection, as a teacher, you begin to dismantle the illusion of separation and to see yourself as part of a greater whole. This isn't just a mental trick. but a shift in perception that can transform the way you interact with the world. This reflection on unity leads us to the crucial point, the purpose of Maya and the awakening. After all, if the world is an illusion, why are we here? The truth is that Maya is not a cosmic mistake to be avoided, but a mechanism. It's the method that infinite consciousness, Brahman, uses to experience itself subjectively. Think of it not as a prison, but as a school, a teacher in disguise that gives us the opportunity to forget who we are and then remember again. The illusion is a stage, and the pains and joys of human life are the scenes. The awakening is not about fleeing the stage or denying the world. It's not about abandoning your job, family, or responsibilities. On the contrary, it's about recognizing your true nature, that the world is a sacred dance of consciousness, a divine game. The goal isn't to escape human life, but to live it fully, with the awareness of who you truly are, an unlimited manifestation disguised as a limited being. To start applying this perspective, observe the small things in your daily life. When you're drinking coffee, don't just drink the coffee. Feel the warmth of the cup, the smell, the taste. Think about the sun that made the coffee grow, the water that nourished it, and the hands that harvested it. By doing this, you're not just drinking coffee, but experiencing the unity behind the experience. This simple practice, if done with attention, helps you recognize the true nature of everything, transforming mundane tasks into acts of enlightenment. So, what do we do with all this? We've talked about Maya, quantum physics, and even Jung. But in the end, the big question is, how does this change your life, your routine, your here and now? The answer is both simple and complex. Start to question. We spend our whole lives accepting reality as something fixed and unchangeable. But what if it's not? What if your worldview is just your projection? Look at your problems, your fears, your dreams. What if the sacred illusion behind all of this is, in fact, the greatest opportunity you have to know yourself? Awakening isn't a finish line, but a journey, and it starts right now with a simple shift in perception. So I invite you to be your own laboratory of consciousness. Apply the small practices we've discussed here, observe your reality from a new angle, and begin to discover the unity behind the apparent separation. If this conversation resonated with you, if it gave you an aha moment, a new way of seeing things, then we have a connection. To continue this journey of discovery and transform your life, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss the next content, and we can continue exploring these mysteries together.